There is a word from the Lord on today. So this is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5. It's a lot of verses, but I think it's worth it.
Lots of verses, but it's worth it. I put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
This is a miss.
You guys remember that song? Forget it, back to the video.
So this is what's going on. I said it last time in my last video, but Assyria is being sent by God to destroy Israel for their sins, the nation of Judah for their sins. This is verse 5. It says, "Woe to Assyria, the rod of my anger, and the staff in whose hands is my indignation." So when he says woe, it's like saying, okay, like a warning to you, or, you know, this is bad. You're doing something bad. But yet he calls him the rod of my anger and the staff in whose hands is my indignation. What does that mean? That means that he's going to use Assyria for some purpose. They are in his hands for some purpose. So they're his rod and his staff. And then he says, verse 6, "I send it against a godless nation and commission it against the people of my fury to capture booty and to seize plunder." Capture booty! Let me tell you one thing. Why I like this here Bible, because they be talking about booty, and I like me some booty. Anyway, capture booty and to seize plunder. I love the Old Testament. It's great. They say stuff like that. "And to trample them down like mud in the streets. Yet it does not so intend, nor does it plan so in its heart, but rather it is its purpose to destroy and to cut off many nations. For it says," he's talking about, this is Assyria talking. "For it says, Assyria, are not my princes all kings? Is not Calno like Karshemish, or Hamath like Arpad, or Samaria like Damascus?" So he's comparing different nations. "As my hand has reached to the kingdoms of the idols, whose graven images were greater than those of Jerusalem and Samaria, shall I not do to Jerusalem and her images, just as I have done to Samaria and her idols?" So Assyria is almost saying like, yo, everybody who we have gone against, we handled them. Like, what up? It hasn't been a problem. No matter who their God was, no matter what city it was, we took care of it. Let me tell you something here. Judah, we whooped their and we whooped them other people's, and we gonna whoop everybody's, because we the baddest. We the baddest. Verse 12 says, "So it will be when the Lord has completed all his work on Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, he will say, I will punish the fruit of the arrogant heart of the king of Assyria and the pomp of his haughtiness." So hold up for a second. First, God was saying, you know, I'm going to use them. I'm going to use them to accomplish my purpose. Remember, it's God who's sending these people against Judah. So first he's saying, yo, they're the rod of my anger. I'm going to use them. But at the same time, he's like, I'm going to punish them too. I'm going to punish Assyria too. Why? Because they're haughty. They're arrogant. And God hates arrogance. And so that's really what I want to talk about today, is how God hates arrogance. So verse 13, it says, "For he has said," this is Assyria, "by the power of my hand and by my wisdom I did this. For I have understanding, and I removed the boundaries of the peoples and plundered their treasures. And like a mighty man, I brought down their inhabitants. And my hand reached to the riches of the people like a nest. And as one gathers abandoned eggs, I gathered all the earth. And there was not one that flapped its wings or opened its beak or chirped." I love the Old Testament, man. The way they talk is crazy. But anyway, yo, so Assyria is really like, yo, I did this, homie. Like, what up? Puffed up. Like, this is all me. And, bro, there's so much arrogance in our hearts sometimes. We got to check it and catch it, because it's real. Let me tell you one thing. Every day I kick. When somebody asks me, hey, you want to do something today? I'm like, let me check my schedule. Let me see, 9 o'clock, can't do it, I'm kicking. 10 o'clock, I'm kicking. 11 o'clock, I actually have my yoga. I gotta make sure I stay tight and right. Oh, 12 o'clock, back to kicking. 1 o'clock, I meet my therapist. And then look, the Old Testament's so crazy. Look at how they talk right here. God is saying, is the axe to boast itself over the one who chops with it? Is the saw to exalt itself over the one who wields it? And then it says, that would be like a club wielding those who lift it, or like a rod lifting him who is not wood. God is saying, yo, you're just a tool, bruh. You're nothing special. I could choose another nation to do the same exact thing that you're doing. And so here's the main point, is that we're just all tools in God's hands. There's no reason to be puffed up and arrogant about anything that happens to us in life, because you are just being used by God. You are where you are. If you're doing His will, it's because you're doing His will, and it's not because of you. And so sometimes we could get so possessive and territorial of things we have, or so arrogant about something is happening. Look down on other people. Look down on maybe the homeless or those less fortunate, or look at someone else's situation and be like, I'd never do that. And God is like, man, you're just an axe. You're just a saw. And I wield you. I chop wood with you when I want to, and I could put you to the side when I want to. I talked about this in one of my previous videos, is that we often think that we're the stars in the show, but really it's God's story. It's God's play. It's God's movie. And we have to be content to say, I'm going to fit in wherever you say, God. Let me finish up, because I know cats don't be liking long videos, and I need cats to watch this. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Verse 16. Therefore the Lord, the God of hosts, will send a wasting disease among his stout warriors. This is what God is going to do to punish Assyria. Right after he uses Assyria to punish Judah, he's going to punish Assyria. Crazy. And under his glory, a fire will be kindled like a burning flame, and the light of Israel will become a fire, and his Holy One a flame, and it will burn and devour his thorns and his briars in a single day. And he will destroy the glory of his forest and of his fruitful garden, both soul and body. And it will be as when a sick man wastes away. I love that language, man. All this stuff is so, I could visualize it, like a sick man just not eating. He's just eventually going to die. And the rest of the trees of his forest will be so small in number that a child could write them down. This language is so crazy. I could picture this, like, ain't no trees. Like a little kid who only knows how to count to 10 will be like, Daddy, there's only 7 trees in the whole land. The Bible is dope. I love it. Moral of the story, man, chill out. Be arrogant. And you're just where you are because God wanted you there. And guess what? If you get arrogant, He'll bring you down. We all have experiences like that, where we thought it was all about us, and God humbled us, and that's not what He wants to do. But we're just featured in the story. We're just tools. And so read the Bible. It's amazing. Love it.
You see me living like a king. It's still 116, bro. Oh Lord, welcome to the same team. I think I need an ad-lib from Diddy, 'cause I'ma take that to eat.